Alright, so today I'm going to show you all how to grease up one of these fs56rc weed eater heads, or gearbox I should say. This process is pretty straightforward. This model does not have the bolt on the side right here to allow you to easily grease this from the outside. So this is one of the weed eaters that personally is not very difficult to necessarily grease, but it's harder than a professional model. So first thing you're going to want to do is take this guard off, and I'm going to pause the video to take this off, and then I'll show you how I did it. Alright, so to take this guard off, all there is a single bolt right here that has a T20, I think is what they call it, bit like this. It comes on like a chainsaw tool or a tool that comes with your weed eater. Now to take this gearbox off, there's a singular bolt right here with the same connection that's on the guard. So you could just use that to take this off, and I'm gonna pause the video again and show y'all how I did it. Alright, so as you can see here, that's the inner shaft right there, and then all you have to do is loosen this bolt up enough for this to slide off. Now in there, let me see if I could use a flashlight on my phone to capture it. There's going to be a tiny, I don't know if you can see that, a tiny itty bitty little place in there where the input shaft slides in, and you can so they sell that grease in a lube, grease in a tube was what I meant to say, sorry about that, that you could just typically it will screw into whatever bolt is in the side here. I've seen people use like these little nozzles that have the cone shape at the end that screw onto there, and they work fine if you clip them off just the tiniest bit at the top. But I typically just use a grease gun, well, because if you can get that nozzle flush with that connection in there, you can put some grease in it. And I just use red and tacky because it's what I have. I mean, red grease is heat resistant already, and that's pretty much all I believe you need for this. If you want to use the standard stihl recommended grease, you can, but you know, red and tacky is what I have. It's what I'm going to use. So yeah. So basically, if you're going to use a grease gun, I recommend either a hand pump like this or an electric grease gun, because it makes it so much easier than those ones that you have to pump up and down with the huge handle. But you just have to make sure you don't get grass in there. That's one thing. I mean, make sure this don't get grass in it. So like I said, get this flush with that little spot in there where the input shaft slides in, and then you can pump grease in there using just a standard grease gun tip if you don't have the steel grease for these. So yeah. Alright, so as you can see, I filled it up to the what I could, because this one hasn't been greased in a while. I think it hasn't been greased in like years. But you can't see that input shaft anymore. I think I may have put a little bit too much up in there, but at the end of the day, this kind of also needs grease at the end right here. So really, you're just kind of, you know, as they say, killing two birds with one stone. So then you just kind of have to slide this back over your shaft, and I might need to pause the video again. I'll be right back. Alright, so I just put the gearbox back on. You may have to rotate the weed eater head a little bit to line up the input shaft with the input in here. And I tightened this down. I put quite a bit of torque on it. I don't have a torque wrench, especially not a torque wrench that can have, you know, a T20 bit on it. So I just did what kind of felt like tight enough pretty much. So yeah, Next thing to do would just be to put this guard back on, and then you're basically done. I used to hear what sounded like a bad bearing noise in here, and it sounded pretty bad. But after I figured out that you could grease these, you know, and they say recommend it like every year, or at least every like 50 hours, I think is what they said. But you don't hear any of that horrible noise. You just hear the gears in here and the input shaft going through the I don't even know what to call this, the tube. But yeah, let me put this guard back on and then we will be done. And there you have it. All you got to do is line that bolt right there back up with the threaded bolt hole in here, and screw it in. It's very easy to cross thread this bolt, by the way, in the guard, so try to make sure you don't do that. However, you know, so yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully you can get more life out of your gearbox this way. See ya.